Hello. Welcome back to the Pink Floyd Completion Project. Today, we are talking about Richard Wright's debut solo album, Wet Dream. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's fucking great. It's fucking great. I love it. It's awesome. And the nice thing is, this one is now on Spotify. And you'll notice that I had a lot to say about this because I took over a page and a half, worth of notes, which is something I don't normally do, because this album has a lot going on. It's lovely, even though a lot of the stuff I have to say about each song is the same as the last one. It's a nice, cohesive album. It truly is. It's also one of those albums that doesn't that like when you listen to it, you don't go, "Oh, this is a nice piece of 70s rock." I listen to this and go, "What a nice piece of music." It really is like that. It's much like Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here and The Wall and a lot of other things that the Floyd and the individual members have done over the years. So starting off, Mediterranean Sea with C spelled as the letter C. So that's probably the key the song is in. Richard Wright was a big fan of doing shit on boats. He just liked being on boats. He was quite the seaman. It's a nice and mellow instrumental opener. It's got a nice jazzy feel. There's a sax solo, which is cool as hell, and the guitar solo delivered by Snowy White, who joined Pink Floyd on the Animals tour. And thus joined Rick Wright in the studio for this album. His guitar solo is pretty great. Again, it's a fantastic opener to a fantastic album. It's not, this album is not massively high energy, but it's not massively complex. It's just a great musical experience. Against the Odds, it's the first vocal song. It's a breakup song. Rick and his then wife wrote together, basically writing about their failing marriage. Rick was getting divorced at the time, which definitely affected his performance on Animals, and certainly affected his lack of ideas during The Wall, as well as making this solo album probably contributed to that as well. He also, I believe at this time, had a coke problem. It was the 70s, so that was probably not uncommon. So, this is kind of a breakup album in a way, but not really, because that's not what every single song is about. There's only 4 vocal songs on the 10-song album, right? And the 6 instrumentals are really fucking good. Sorry about the wind noise, by the way. It's fairly windy, and the canopy is still being a little bit fucky. So, if the audio on this one is a bit shit, I apologize. It's nice and mellow. It's melancholic. There's a beautiful acoustic guitar solo. Snowy White is a very skilled musician in his own right. He's done, I think he's done a good amount of stuff. But I might look into that. This project is purely about Floyd members. Rick's voice sounds beautiful as always. His voice was very underutilized on all of the Floyd albums. I'm telling you, he should have sung a lot more than he did on these albums, or on those albums. Sorry. It's beautiful. Yeah, Cat Cruise, it's another lovely, mellow instrumental jam. Rick, I was listening to this, and I was like, Rick's having a good time making this. The group of people making this album are all having a great time together. They're working off each other. The thing is, Rick is not, the most extravagant of keyboardists. He does You listen to his keyboards and you know it's him, but he's not like Keith Emerson where he's going fucking batshit. He's just having a good time playing the keys and occasionally singing. Like so, and this album definitely fits that. But the group of people together here, Snowy White on guitar, obviously. Um, uh, Larry Steele on bass. You know, Mel Collins on the sax. And then Reg Isidore on drums. Like this group of people is having a great time making a fantastic album. Like it's truly a great time listening to this. Um, like there's another spiffy sax solo. The energy picks up in the middle of like the tempo increases. It's and it's got an excellent guitar solo once again from Snowy White. Summer Elegy. It's the second vocal track. It's possibly another breakup song. It could also be about the shit Roger was giving him at the time. It's still nice and mellow. Rick's vocals are stellar as always, and there's a slightly country guitar solo. The guitar solo on this could be in like any contemporary country song, like not with this, with Now. But here's the thing, because it's surrounded by stuff that's also great. This great guitar solo is just a great guitar solo, not a highlight of a shitty song. Yeah. I don't like country. But yeah, it's great. Waves, once again, another nice and mellow instrumental, another pretty sax solo. It's a side one closer, and there's like this grand synth outro. It's, like the energy of the song, like it gets this grandness to it, and I love it. It's awesome. Holiday. It is the side 2 opener. If I was this could be the album closer, but it's also a great side 2 opener. It is the third vocal track. It's nice and mellow. It's possibly still lamenting his failed marriage, but it has a it has a semi-positive energy. Rick's voice is, this is where I went. Rick's voice is underutilized on Floyd albums. There's a cool synth solo in the middle, and the end is like the most positive song on the album. It does that thing where like the main melody, like it just goes up a key, like the classic pop song thing. But this is I'm pretty sure the longest song on the album. It's like 6 minutes 20 seconds. But it's great. It does that thing where in a lot of pop songs, when they can't remember where they don't know how to end it, they just raise the key and they keep repeating. Excuse me, and it fades out, but it's still fucking great. And then a guitar solo plays us off once again from Snowy White. Mad Yanis Dance, another mellow instrumental. Rick and Snowy play in unison briefly. There's more cool sax licks. And I wrote down this group of musicians work really well together. I wish this group of musicians could have done another solo album, but Rick had to deal with a lot of shit for a while. So it's unfortunate that unless on his '96 album some of these people returned, it's unfortunate that that this group of musicians never made another album, because that, like, if Rick had like a solo career, like another album or two, I think he would have been, his discography would have been looked at with quite positive reputation, if you know what I mean. But this, like, to my knowledge, this exact group of musicians never reunited. which is unfortunate, but it's nice that they did do one thing together, and it's fucking fantastic. Yeah, dropping from the top, it's a nice and jazzy organ piece. There's a guitar bit where it's probably like the pedal setup and the way it's played, but like the guitar setup could definitely be heard on some stuff on the wall, which we'll get to. We're coming to it very shortly. You'll learn how shortly here pretty soon. But yeah, um, you know, there's a nice and bluesy guitar solo from Suddy, and it that could have almost been played by Dave. It's not mentioned in the personnel notes that I found. It doesn't mention if Dave was on the album, but the solo that Snowy plays on Drop In From the Top could definitely have been played by Dave. It sounds very much like Dave. And then there's Pink's song, the fourth and final vocal track about the mental decay of Syd Barrett. It's a melancholic reflection of Syd. It's mellow, of course, and it has a flute solo. It is a sad song. Lyrically, it's definitely more thematically in terms of Wish You Were Here. It definitely fits more with that. Musically, it would not fit with that album. I don't know what album this would have fit with. Apart from this one, like if I had to pick a Floyd album that this song would fit on, maybe The Wall, but not not great. So, yeah. Maybe it could have been a section of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, but it's not. And I'm perfectly okay with that. Shine On You Crazy Diamond is fucking great the way it is. And this song is fucking great. It's short. It's like 3.5 minutes. So that's short for a member of a Floyd album to make. But it's still really good. It's really good. You wouldn't think that they'd still be reflecting on Syd this late in the game. This is 1978. But hey, it's been a decade. Like, sometimes you look back on shit 10 years later and you find you have more stuff to say. And then Funky, and this one has a flute solo. And then Funky Do, it's the album closer. I almost think that this could have been the side one opener, and then Holiday could have changed places with it to have the album end on a more positive note or a higher energy note than this. But I guess, yeah, this one's fine. It's great. Again, if that's the only change I would make to the album, nothing within the songs themselves, and that's the only album, that's the only track order that I would change, you've got yourself a fucking great album. But Funky Do, I don't know how the hell it's pronounced. It's the album closer. It's a blues jazz instrumental. Snowy's having a great time, as is Rick. And it wouldn't be complete without that sax. Once again by Mel Collins. So yeah, that is Richard Wright's Wet Dream. Highly recommend it. Go buy it. They recently did a reissue like that. In 2023, they reissued it and remastered it. Stephen Wilson remastered it. Sorry. It's fantastic. Definitely go give it a listen. I think it's definitely one of the best albums that a Floyd member ever did outside of the Floyd. And I highly recommend it. So, next time, we're going to be looking at The Wall. And I'm excited. I'm not even going to need notes for it. I fucking love that album. But yeah, so, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. If you want to continue along this musical journey with me, please feel free to subscribe. If you want to hear me talk about something other than music, you can Like, I have a podcast called Dorkies with two of my buddies. I will link the most recent episode of that in the description. If you want to hear what I'm listening to, what I happen to be listening to on any given day, you can follow me on Instagram at Sean_Heaster 1979. I post a 15-second song of my story on there. I have a stroke. I post a 15-second segment of a song on my story every single day. Yeah. So next time we're looking at the wall. But for now, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.